What was it like to be in the Marine Corps? I've been waiting to ask you this question for like weeks now. I saw a video Insider did about what Marines have to go through, and it is insanity. Insanity, bro. I would cry the first day. What was it like?
It wasn't anything I expected. I didn't watch any YouTube videos or anything like that. It was back in 2000. I mean, YouTube was out, but it was 2008.
Yeah, I think that's right at the time
So,
Google bought it or something.
Yeah, YouTube was pretty new. So I didn't watch any Marine Corps boot camp videos or anything like that. So I just went in not
kind of
not knowing blindly. Yeah, I mean, just from stories other guys had told me and stuff.
Right. Well, I read the blog article that you did, and you talked about how you got into it, and I believe your, what do you call it, your sergeant, the person above you that you were talking to, is it sergeant?
The recruiter.
The recruiter, right?
My recruiter at the time was a sergeant.
Right, and he he asked you where you wanted to be.
Yeah. So anybody who signs up for the Marine Corps, you get to choose your job.
Right.
And as long as there's spots available and you're smart enough for that job,
they'll put you on it.
That you can be in that job. And so I was going to join the Marine Corps, or I was joining the Marine Corps, and I only imagined myself being infantry because I was going in to be a full-out Marine.
Really?
So I didn't imagine myself doing anything else, didn't want to do anything else.
That's crazy.
Turns out infantry was full.
Really? So you couldn't do it. So that's when he asked you, like, where you want to go, right?
Yeah, like, what's your second choice? And I didn't know.
You were so focused on the first one, yeah.
Yeah, who thinks that infantry would ever be full?
Right.
But that's what I thought then, but now it makes more sense because the Marine Corps or the military, you got to have all these jobs or the military doesn't work.
Right.
Got to have corpsmen, got to have mechanics,
oh, man.
got to have admin people. So,
that makes sense.
They have to fill these quotas.
Right.
And so I had to pick something else. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I certainly am not mechanical.
All those other things.
I am not mechanical at all.
So did he ask you, or did you bring it up about when the subject of art came up? Was it him like?
Oh, it was me. I was like, I almost thought it was a dumb question because I was like, is there anything art
related in the Marines?
Artful?
Right.
Yeah, and there is. You can be a journalist. And you can be a photographer. And so I was like, yeah, I want to be a photographer. I have experience in that and stuff. And so I signed up as a photographer.
So I know that you took photos for your high school, right? But have you done any kind of video work in high school or before you were the photographer?
No.
So you're just straight photographer.
Work. No, I didn't want to be a videographer. I wanted
really?
to be a photographer.
That's insane.
So he wrote down the MOS number, MOS being military occupational specialty. So that means your job.
Right.
And he wrote down the field of combat, camera. And I didn't know that.
Right.
Until I got into, you go to boot camp and you go to combat training. And then after that, you go to your MOS training. And mine was in Fort Meade, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. And I wasn't picking up class, and I had no idea why.
Oh, man.
But I didn't really ask questions. I was like, well, this is how it goes. I'm not going to bother my mess sergeant like, well, am I not picking up class?
Right.
But months and months went by, and I would watch the Marines arrive and pick up class before me and graduate before I even picked up class. And I was finally like, I gotta figure out why this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty timid, and I wasn't, it took a lot for me to ask.
Right.
But I asked, and it turns out that my recruiter had, like you said, just written in the number that was generically combat camera,
right?
Which is photographers, videographers, graphic designers. And so I didn't have, that's why I wasn't picking up classes, because my number wasn't coming up.
Right.
And so he told me, well, you can wait, but there's nothing in the foreseeable future that there's a class opening. You can either wait forever,
right,
and or you can pick up this videography class. And I was kind of scared, actually, to be a videographer because it just seemed a lot more complicated with audio and the class was a lot longer. And
Right.
watching the other Marines study, they seemed like they were a lot more busy than the photographers in those
Right.
classes. So, but it was so in your MOS training, you're treated better than a recruit in boot camp, but you still don't have very much freedom.
Really?
They still, you know,
They're on top
you're
of you.
not your own person kind of thing.
man.
They're not yelling at you like they do in, but they watch you, and you know, and
Right.
they don't trust you yet until you get
Right.
out and go to your first duty station. So, and I had been 9 months in this situation of like being bored, they just going on job details and stuff. And so I was ready to get out of there. So I didn't
Right.
care if I was going to be a videographer. I had to get out of there. So I said, yeah. But my first day in class, they showed this video. I wish I could find it, but they showed this video of the history of filmmaking and how it kind of came to be and stuff. And I just remember being so inspired by that video. And it was right then that I knew that, man,
Video.
my recruiter made that mistake. It was meant to be for him to make that mistake.
Right.
And now is the greatest thing that ever happened to me, really,
That's
because
incredible.
if you're a videographer, you're really a photographer anyway. So
Very much so.
I'm-
But you wear a lot more hats when you're doing video compared to photo. Photo, yeah, it's like you got your camera, but now we got audio equipment. You got your mics, you got batteries. I guess you have batteries in photography, but you have way more batteries. You have lighting equipment. You have to direct. You have to write. You have to script. You have to make sure everything else is all fixed up.
yeah,
you know?
there's a lot more moving parts in videography for sure. But the rules of composition and exposure and lighting
Yeah,
are
that's the
fundamental. So if you can, so if you're a videographer, it's easier to become a photographer than I think than if you
do it vice versa.
yeah, vice versa.
That's interesting.
So
That's
I mean, I couldn't be more blessed for that mistake to have happened,
Right.
because I really can't see myself doing anything else.